27% of patients have reported not picking up a script because of the cost, and 38% of patients reported not getting a treatment because of the cost. But a big problem exists because it's not the doctor's job to know how much the medicine that he's prescribing is going to cost for the patient. I mean, think about the last time you went to the doctor's office. Did they tell you the price of the prescription, or did you just go to the pharmacy after you got it and cross your fingers and hope it wasn't too much? Or imagine you're a doctor and you tell a patient that they're going to have surgery, and your patient says, how much is that going to cost? Don't you want to be able to tell them? That's thousands of dollars. That's a life-changing amount of money for a lot of people. But the problem exists because there isn't a good way currently for doctors to figure out that price very quickly on the fly. And that's what we're trying to create. A simple interface that will let a doctor know how much a prescription costs and if it was picked up by the patient, so that we can improve patient compliance. A quick little background about me. My name is Chetan. I worked in computers at MIT until my wife, who's a doctor, mentioned this problem to me, and I thought it was exactly suited for my particular skill set. Here's how the solution is going to work. Now, I use a tool called Denodo, which takes a bunch of different data sources and combines them so they look like they're all coming from the same spot. So to this application, a bunch of data sources come through here, and they all look like they're in the same spot. So what we're going to do is combine EMR data and insurance data. So now we have the EMR data and the insurance data in here. Denodo can look at which patient is currently in your office and then look up their insurance data to find out exactly what they're going to pay. So then on your front end over here, you can actually get a dollar amount of how much they're going to have to pay. And then on top of that, we're going to bring in pharmacy data. And what we can see from the pharmacy data is, did this patient actually go and pick up his prescription? That data gets fed into the front end. And whenever you see the patient, you can say, hey, looks like you didn't pick up this prescription. Why not? They could say it was too expensive or whatever, and you can recommend a different course of action for them. But as you can see, very quickly, you'll be able to tell them two very important pieces of information, which is, one, how much their prescription costs, and then two, you'll be able to see whether or not they actually went and picked up their last prescription. All right, so I know that whenever you pitch an idea about a business to anyone, the first thing they do is say, that won't work because... And that's what I'm looking for, especially if you're a doctor. Is this product something that's useful and something that's worth building? I mean, I know that there's real-time prescription benefit services right now, but the ones that I've seen have been hilariously user-unfriendly. And one of the biggest things I want to focus on is creating a product that doctors are actually going to use that fit into their prescribing patterns and their discussions with the patient, so that it's very easy for them to tell them this information. I don't expect a doctor to have to click 6 times to find this price. I even thought about creating it as like a plug-in device that you stick into your computer, and it just shows you on the screen how much the drug costs or whatever. Like, just, it's that simple. So if you currently already have this real-time prescription benefit software integrated with your EMR, are you using it? Is there a reason you're not? What makes it so good? What makes it bad? One of the hospitals in one of the studies had a 6% utilization rate. But in the same study, they had another one that had a 60% utilization rate. So, what are the difference between those two? I'm not quite sure. You could even be like, hey, this really isn't even a problem at all. But while I have you, there's one more thing I actually want to think about building into this product. See, there isn't necessarily a limit on how much data we can bring into this layer. And so when I thought, what data could help a doctor help his patient the most? To me, it seems like diet and exercise. So what if we add in your grocery store app's data, and you can see what the patient's buying from the grocery store? Obviously, with their permission, of course. But most patients are clueless when it comes to diet, so being able to see what they're buying is actually a good learning opportunity for them to be like, hey, maybe you shouldn't get that many ho-hos with your grocery order. I don't know. You could maybe do credit card data, and then we could say, hey, stop going to McDonald's so often, or whatever. The health app on your phone includes the number of steps you take. That's the kind of thing you could use to track exercise. And all of that can be fed to the screen that is coming through to the doctor. Now, the question I have, though, is what data sources could you see that are actually going to be useful here to draw, to increase patient value? And what's the current hindrance that you got? All right, so to summarize, I'm just going to list out the 3 questions I got for you. Is this solving a real problem that you think will improve compliance? Like being able to see a patient's insurance information in real time, easily and quickly. Is that actually something that moves the needle? If you do use something like this, why don't you use it more often, and what could be better? It just seems like the ones that I found online look extremely clunky, like they were designed in 1997, and like they had the user interface that was just absolutely atrocious. So I know that things like this do exist. Why don't more doctors use them? And then 3, this is kind of a creative one. What other data would help you improve patient care? You can be creative here. I'm the data guy, so I would be in charge of trying to figure out how to get it into the system. But if you could see how many steps a patient was taking, if you could see what foods they were eating, is that going to be important? So if you're a doctor, please answer these questions. If you're not a doctor, though, and you think this solution sounds interesting, please also let me know that. Thanks in advance.